Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. This one is going to be around managing your cash flow. Now, this is a question that I get asked a lot, and it comes from the students within the academy, it comes from people who are having one-on-one coaching with me, it comes from people just on YouTube. In the comments below, people are asking me, how do you manage your cash flow? I don't have a lot of money. How can I pay for my customers' orders? So I just wanted to take some time and to answer those questions because it seems to be an important question to you guys and you want me to answer it. You keep asking about it. So here's the video. This is going to cover everything you need to know. So I think the first thing that you need to understand is how the cash flow works from when the customer places the order. So if you're running PayPal and you're running, say, Stripe or through Shopify payment gateways, they do have different lead times on when you can actually get that money. So if a customer buys from you and they pay on their credit card, on their debit card, and you're using Stripe or you're using Shopify payment gateway or another third-party gateway on the platform, then you're going to see a lead time of 3 to 5 days generally for it to appear in your bank account. And obviously you don't want to be waiting 3 to 5 days to place your order on AliExpress because it's just adding to the lead time of deliveries that the customer is already having to wait. So you want to try and place your order as quickly as possible. But if you don't have the funds to pay for that order on AliExpress straight away because you need that customer's money to pay for it, then I think this is where the problem with the cash flow comes in. Whereas with PayPal, what usually happens is when a customer pays with PayPal, it will appear in PayPal's account generally straight away. So then you can just withdraw it from PayPal into your bank account and then go and pay for the product on AliExpress. So PayPal's not really the issue. It's more Shopify payments and the Stripe payment gateway and other gateways like that are causing the issue because of that delay, that lead time that it takes for the funds to land in your bank account. So there are a couple of ways around this. Now, the first one is what I did. So I'll explain to you how I started, how I got involved in it. And then the second one, which is probably the easiest one to do and gives you a little bit more freedom. So what I did when I first started was, as some of you probably already know, I didn't have a lot of money. I started all this with £250 in my pocket. That's all I had. And it was that bad that I was actually eating cracker breads for my tea because I couldn't afford to buy food. I was struggling that much. So when I started dropshipping, I didn't have a lot of money to play with. So the lead times were quite a big issue for me. But what I did was when I first started, I was selling products that were really cheap to buy on AliExpress. So $1, $2 I was trying to buy these products for. So I knew when I did get an order, it wouldn't cost me too much to buy it from the supplier. But then what I also did was I slowed down my scaling. I didn't scale as quickly. So even though I was making sales at the beginning, I wasn't increasing my budgets, which would have ultimately caused more sales to come in. I didn't want too many orders coming in that I couldn't fulfill in the back end until I had that pot of money. So once my profit started building up in my bank account because I was leaving it a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before I was starting to scale, then that allowed me to have this little cash pot that I could pay for orders, and then it was constantly getting topped up by the profit each day from the new orders. So one way of doing it is don't scale too quickly. Keep your budget quite low, and when you do get the orders, you should be able to cover a couple of them here and there. And then once the profit starts adding up and you get a bit of a cash pot, then you can start to scale and then you can start to bring in more orders. And eventually it just starts to snowball until the point where you don't need to worry about cash flow as much because you have that pot of cash, a pot of that profit that you can use to pay for your customers' orders. The second option, which is the easiest and means you can scale a lot quicker, is get yourself a credit card. Now, don't freak out when I say get yourself a credit card because you're not going to be having to pay any interest on this. You will just set it up to pay off the entire balance of that credit card at the end of the month. So you will only pay for the orders you've placed on that credit card, and it will allow you to avoid that interest, but also have 30 days worth of funds being released from Shopify and from the payment gateways into your bank account. So you have that pot of money you can then pay off the credit card with. So credit cards are a really good way. And another bonus to the credit cards, if you pick certain ones, you get points. So you can get cash back, you can get rewards from high street shops, you can get airline points, so you can actually fly. If you do enough sales on those credit cards, if you buy enough orders on the credit cards and build up a balance, then you will get points back and you can then transfer them into airline tickets, so you can actually fly around the world for free. So there is a bit of a bonus to using the credit cards. As long as you obviously not paying interest on them, it's definitely a way to go to help you with your cash flow. But me personally, what I did was I just scaled really slowly, and only started to increase my budget once the profit started landing in my bank account. And cash flow doesn't have to be a big problem. I think it only really becomes a big problem if you're trying to advertise but you have no budget at all. Obviously, you have no money to play around with, then that's going to cause you an issue. But also, if you try and scale too quickly, if you increase your budget too quickly and you don't have that pot of cash to pay for your orders, then yes, that will become a problem for you. So either scale slowly and wait until the funds are landed in your bank account before you start to bring more orders in, or get yourself a credit card so you can scale quickly, but then pay off that credit card at the end of the month, because that'll allow you to avoid the interest, avoid the penalties, and you're getting all your orders paid off quickly and you're getting the points without the negative side effects of it. So yeah, cash flow is important, but ultimately profit is more important. And this is why I constantly say that find out what your break-even point is, understand what your break-even point is, because it doesn't matter how quickly that money is coming in. If you're not making a profit off the back of that money, it's all pretty pointless. So if you're not profitable, you know there's not really much point in doing any of it. I see a lot of people, throwing out those big numbers out there. Oh, I've done 50,000 this month, and then when people sort of push into it, saying how well they've done, it turns out that they've actually made a loss. So it's kind of like, well, what's the point in doing that if you're not going to be profitable? So make sure you figure out what your break-even point is. Understand that cash flow, even though it's important, it is manageable and it is something you can control even at the beginning when you don't have a lot of income coming in. So yeah, I mean, I managed to do it, and I had very, very little money when I first started it, and cash flow never really entered my mind because of how I managed that scaling. I only scaled in line with the money that was coming in. I never went quicker or beyond what I was able to produce financially. I was never going to be able to bring in $100 a day and only fulfill 10 of them. I wasn't going to do that. So if I was only bringing 8 orders in, but I could fulfill those 8 orders, and that was good to me at the beginning. And it was only once I started making the profit and the balance, my bank balance started to grow, that's when I started to increase that budget, increase my scaling, and really go for those $1,000, $2,000, £3,000 a day ad sets. So I hope you found that useful. That was probably one of the most common questions that I get asked almost on a daily basis about cash flow. So hopefully that answered some of your questions. If you want me to go into more detail with you and your store and your personal circumstances, then make sure you drop me a message on my Facebook page. I do have a number of slots open for one-on-one coaching if you're interested in that. So reach out to me. I answer everything that comes through on that Facebook page. So if you have any questions, just make sure you drop me a message. Again, in the comments below, I'm answering all of them as quickly as I can. So any questions, any sort of videos you want to see, any questions you have that you want me to cover, then just drop them in the comments box below, because I'm creating content for you guys. Like, you need to tell me what you want, and then I can create this content for you. So yeah, just let me know what you want. Drop me a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you in the next one.